What's going on, YouTube and y'all squad? This is your boy Yocrates. This is your review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 14, episode 17. This is the finale. Thank God. Before we get into the review, a couple of things. Number one, if you hear any rustling, any crunching like somebody chewing on some hard candy, any slurping or whatever, that is my dog. She finally decided that she wanted to eat her breakfast, now when I'm recording. So there's that. Also, don't forget that the Whether You Like It or Not panel will be on Scotty by Nature TV's channel tomorrow. So we will be over there to cut the food in reference to this show and Bell Collective. So let's get into it. And I'm going to just kind of run through some of these because, we're just tying up storylines at this point, right? So Kenya, we found out that CVS wants to give her 5,000 stores. So the way that I interpreted that is that her products are going to be placed in 5,000 stores, which is a big deal and a tremendous feat. Like I'm very, very proud of her. So kudos there. She lets us know that she had to spend extra to get the remaining items. So I don't know if it was like the bottles or whatever, but get the last of what she needed from overseas. And, of course, we understand that it was the pandemic and everything else, but what I will say is, hey, these are things that you have to consider. Now, I know if for most people they can't always have their operations in the United States if they live in the United States because, it's probably going to cost more to manufacture, so that's why they outsource. But, these are things that you sort of kind of have to deal with. But she had to spend some extra, but hey, they say you got to spend money to make money, so good for you, Kenya. Hopefully you can get that Walmart deal back. Hopefully. So now we get Sanya. She invites Marlo over with the boys. Ross is going to spend time with Michael and William, showing them how to change tires, check the oil or whatnot in the car, all that good stuff. Ross mentions that he didn't learn that until he had a stepfather. And I'm going to keep it a buck. I still don't know how to change a tire. We have YouTube, so if I ever find myself in a situation, I can figure it out. But like I said, my parents divorced when I was 2. That left me with 2 permanent male figures in my family, or my mother's side of the family at least, which was my uncle, but he was battling his own demons, and he passed when I was 9. And my grandfather, who by the time I was able to even really do anything, had one leg amputated, then his second leg amputated, then he passed right before I turned 10. So yeah, not really any male influence to show me some of those things. Just throwing it out there. But that was a good thing. And, that's one thing that we need more in this world, because children do need mentorship. And sometimes you have to outsource. And when we say it takes a village, it really does take a village. And not everybody has the same skill set. So, we have to be able to lean on each other and glean from each other. So that was beautiful. Beautiful scene, most definitely. We find out that Marlo mom is in town. She shares the last time that her mom had stayed with her. They had an argument. Her mother went, down the street, knocking on the neighbors' doors and trash talking Marlo. And I don't know. At first, I was just like, I don't know if you should be sharing that on TV. But at the same time, it's like, if this is your story, if this is your truth, then share it. Because, so often, many of us, especially Generation X and Y, we tend to not tell our stories because we're protecting somebody else that, whether or not they need the protection or not is irrelevant. But at the expense of protecting that person, we're doing ourselves more harm. So I thought about it for a second. I had to take that back. We find out that Ross says that he was okay if Sanya did not want to have, if she didn't want to have the baby, he's okay with that. Whatever she wants to do, he's on board with. Now she wants to have the baby. Y'all, we knew this was a storyline, but all right, that's cute. That's cute. And she's made an appointment to get her IUD taken out. We find out as the episode is wrapping up that it's out. So, okay, cool. Praise the Lord. So now we get She by Sheree. Y'all know we're going to get Sheree sprinkling all throughout this episode. So she has 5 out of 24 pieces. She even did some outsourcing in New York. And apparently she was promised 24. Again, this is a week before the event. But she only has 5 out of 24. again, what do you expect? And one thing that everybody has to remember is She Sheree was never her storyline for this season. Lyrone was her storyline for this season. And when the Philly thing happened and she got stood up and she met with her therapist, and he said, "Is there any other passion?" That's when She Sheree came. And this is in the latter point of the season. Now, had she been planning this from the beginning, it probably would have went off a hell of a lot more smoothly than what it actually did. Just throwing that out there. But I think we all know that this was a last minute, let me do this so I can keep my peach and not be reduced to a friend of the show storyline, right? So we get Marlo and Emma. Emma is her mom. And we find out that she accidentally threw her teeth away. And, I hollered. Like, and it wasn't loud and hurt misfortune. But, I mean, hell, shit happens. Now, what I'm about to say is because, sometimes I get a little bit too, wasted and shit. But, it'd be times that I'd wake up like, where the fuck is my glasses? Where is this? Like, sometimes shit happens, Or, I might be cleaning or whatever, not thoroughly paying attention because, if you ever get into a mood of cleaning, you just in the zone. And I've actually thrown some shit away. And I'm just like, did I really throw? I done threw it away. So it happens. It happens. We find out that her mother has a flea market, so Marlo has her at the store to pick out some stuff for her mom's flea market, which is good. Appreciate that. She wants to move back in with Marlo, and then they talk about forgiveness. And the mother says, Marlo actually, because, Marlo's like, you hurt me. And the mom was like, well, you hurt me by putting me out. And Marlo's like, yeah, put you out of the house that I paid for. And when she said that, I was like, but then she went into detail, and I had to back up a little bit. And she pretty much said the house was supposed to be a place of refuge for, the youth in our family so none of them would have to go to foster care. But it sucks when I'm hearing that there's fighting breaking out. The police are being called. Drugs are being sold out of the house. You are back on drugs. So, yeah, sort of kind of had to happen. And with that, I can understand it. And I'm gonna get. Hopefully, I remember to talk about it later because I don't want to say it here because we get one more scene with them. Marlo even says to her, "Did you ever think that when I left at 10 that I needed you?" And the mom is teary-eyed, gets up, hugs her, and saying, "Wherever you were, I always went there to you. I will always be there." And yeah, obviously, they need therapy, both individual and collective therapy, to be able to get through this. At the same exact time, it's one of those where I hope it's not, but it feels like it's going to be an uphill battle because, the mother is not going to be, is not holding herself accountable. She's going to find a way to sit here and try to twist and turn it, which is what I got where she wasn't being accountable for anything, but we'll continue on. So we get a small glimpse from Sheree 4 days to the event. She now has 10 to 11 pieces. All right, now we get Kenya. So Candy, Sonya, Drew, and we see Brandon. He don't really have a speaking role, but it was I see Brandon there. Lets us know they're still friends. CVS display, so that's a big deal. They talk about Sheree and the garments and figuring out how many garments it was, and they was like, well, hopefully it's not a party. And then you got Drew saying, well, we know she don't pay for parties. And it's just like, okay, Drew, you really have much to contribute to this episode, but I guess you gotta get your jabs in where you can. So, okay. This coffee good as hell. All right, so we get Candy and Joyce. So Candy is talking to her about estate planning and trust talk. Joyce feels that her husband, at this point, should not even be on the trust, that by virtue of how long they've been married and what they've been doing collectively, that he should have enough, have accumulated enough wealth to where that doesn't need to happen. And then also she feels that because Riley is the oldest, that, she should be at the forefront when it comes to the trust. And Candy, she's like, what about Blaze and Ace? And then you have George pretty much trying to clean it up, saying those two have benefited from having a father, but Riley hasn't. And I kind of get where it's going, but it's one of those where, baby, you got 3 kids. That just needs to be split between all 3 of your kids equally. The only difference is maybe, just maybe, you either give it all to Riley or you give her half and then the other half. But when it comes to the youngins, that probably needs to be given to them installments based on how old they are. But again, Joyce is really just doing it because she don't like Todd. No matter how she tries to play around with it, she don't like Todd. Candy says if she passes, she, like, granted, she needs to put this on paper because you can't put this on paper. That if he wants access to her trust, he can't marry. And her whole thing for that is she would hate for him to get married, and then, you know, whoever he marries, now she has access to things that are meant for their children and her child, which is understandable, but put that on paper. You can put that on paper. We found at the end of the episode they still haven't, you know, solidified anything with that. Joyce asks who will be over her trust if she goes on the Lord. She's like, Don Juan. Joyce is like, it should be one more. And she's like, who? Me. And I look like, oh, you ain't shit. But then Candace was like, oh, so you trying to kill me off? Yeah. Yeah, she's trying to kill you off. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. So now we get Sheree again. One day before the event, we see Apollo there. Rowan has found a girl named, I believe, is Lovila. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. She, if I'm not mistaken, has her own agency, so was able to help provide some women to help. And then in walks Lyrone. Now look, I'm not finna go into any detail about what happened between those two, because I am convinced she did not know that he might not have been there. Possibly. But this man that came in, mic'd up, and all this other stuff, again, production possibly could have not told her, and we just had that scene. But I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Long story short, he don't feel that he owe her an apology for nothing, and she tell him to get the F out. That's it. And even tells him don't show up to the fashion show. Okay. So we get Marlo and Emma again. They're in the archive. Candy is invited. There was another apology made over the phone. Candy accepted it, so Emma is happy that there's reconciliation and all the other stuff. Marlo wants, when family called, to not want money, because she even said that to her mom. Now Marlo wanted to create a space to where her mom could meet Candy. And they end up having an argument before Candy gets there, and I really feel like if that's what you wanted, you could have kept the conversation super light until Candy got there, and then once Candy left, dive into whatever issues that y'all have. But I mean, they got problems, and it just is what it is. So Marlo shares that her mother's relationship with men has been a trigger for her. Was even saying how she was talking to someone and was saying to him she wanted if she should ask Marlo if she should bring her dude around. And Marlo whole thing like, you've been gone for so many days, and then one of the first things you want to, even though you didn't ask me first, but you want to ask me to bring a dude around that is on drugs. And Mom like, well, he not on drugs, but Mom was just like, but it's the optics of it. And then she also says that she felt that she was always in competition for attention when it comes to her mother and the men that she will be getting with, and feels that her mother's relationship with men is probably why she doesn't have a relationship with men, or even though she didn't say it, why her relationship with men is just very transactional, allegedly. So Candy walks in and breaks up the energy a little bit. Marlo has to step out to gather herself. And again, I really feel that a lot of this pain is very much so real for Marlo. It just kind of feels just like, did you bring your mama in as a last minute plot line? Because she was, y'all real stuff. Emma apologizes if she hurt Marlo. And I hate the if. I hate that. I hate that. Because it's one thing if you really don't know if you did hurt somebody, right? Like if y'all ever watch Thor, and in that one moment where the Destroyer showed up on Earth, and you have Thor, talking to Loki through the Destroyer, saying, "I don't know what I did to hurt you, but if I did hurt you, brother, I'm sorry," because Thor literally has no idea if he has done anything to hurt Loki. And my dog is shaking. That's one thing. This is one of those where, as the parent, good and goddamn well you done hurt your damn daughter. Go say some if. I swear I hate those ifs. I really do. And then says she would not bring any more men around her daughter. And I guess she saw like, okay, this is truly a trigger. Let me bring this back in. Candy asked Emma how old was she when was Marlo when she started using. She said 7. And Candy even asked him like are y'all even, y'all should probably do counseling. Y'all ever thought about counseling? They said yes. But again, it's just one of those where I feel like both Marlo and her mom, primarily her mom, want to be in a place of being the victim. And in this particular instance, Marlo, I mean, whatever Marlo has done as an adult has been very reactionary, and maybe there's probably some accountability that needs to be had there, but it's all on her mom. But again, because her mom belongs to a particular generation, that accountability that she wants is going to be very hard to get. It's going to be very hard to get. And one thing I must say is if Marlo ever comes across this, you need to reconcile with yourself. You know, if your mom was to transition on tomorrow, whatever unresolved issue you have, will you be okay with it? Because you might not get the desired result that you want. So you need to reconcile within yourself to be sure that you, because people love to say, you know, you forgive for yourself. Now, fuck that shit. I'm gonna leave that. You need to reconcile it with yourself that you may not get the closure that you want, and then you have to figure out how you're going to navigate through life, knowing that I'm probably not going to get this, or I didn't get it. But how can I sit here and make myself whole in spite of? I gave y'all a word. So now we get She by Sheree. 27 looks. As they're trying to get stuff ready, one girl had a camel toe. Another one rolled her ankle. I'm like, oh, and you know, stuff like that. Even though it can be seen as a bad omen, but the rolling of the ankle sometimes, depending on what realm of entertainment you're in, that can be a sign of good luck. So maybe, just maybe, I do want to put this up because hell, I've been talking, I might forget. And y'all can read that as I keep going. All right. So we see Deshawn Snow. She looked good. Futon made an appearance. We got Moneta. We got Bob, her ex-husband. We saw Kooky Tammy. Okay, Kooky Tammy is a vibe. Dwight, he had to be there. We see Dr. Jackie. Peter, apparently Peter Thomas was hiding the Cooter Brown. Quad was there. Lisa Nicole Cloud. Okay. Lyrone comes in with flowers. And Sheree isn't even upset about it, which kind of lets me know it's like, you knew he was coming. You just need to put on for a scene. And then we get a countdown. Half an hour, half an hour has passed since, start time. An hour has passed since start time. 2 hours has passed since start time. It finally goes off, but you can tell that people, especially Dwight, because Dwight was in like, I'm about to go. It's some bullshit. But it finally goes off, some of the girls are saying like, oh, okay, I might get this piece, I might get that piece. One guy walked down the aisle when I tell you Kenya got up to twisting her hair and everything, and literally was looking at this man like he was a piece of steak that she was ready to devour. I wonder if she got the man's number. I don't know. But hey, look, Kenya. Do you? All right, do you? Okay. But I mean, that was pretty much it. The fashion show happened, and apparently the fashions are not unique to her. But that's none of my business. But hey, y'all, look, that's my review. Y'all know we go get into this thing further on Tuesday. But I'm about to go ahead and click off so I can watch some of the reviews about my peers, because I know they finna cut the food. I gave y'all some light, in the words of Terrence. I gave y'all some light. Oh, they finna go in and let have it, and I can't wait to hear it. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope that everyone is having a beautiful beginning to their week. Hopefully it's blessed and prosperous. Hopefully you end this week better than how you started the week. All right, you all drive safely. Make sure you get to your destination safe. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.